all potters are built. It's the wedging. I'm like 65, I'm not so built anymore. But there was a day. Today, what I'm gonna show you folks, well, why don't I turn this off till I get ready. Somebody was in the gallery the other day and they were looking at one of my bowls with the sculpted top. And I'm saying sculpted top as opposed to my torn edge where I go around, you've seen me with the videos ripping the clay. This is a slightly different technique that I've started using lately that I think I actually might have used when I first started developing the torn edge. And then as things go when you're learning, you kind of morph into things. And then sometimes 30 years, 40 years later, you go, oh, maybe I'll go back to that. So I wanted to have, instead of just having the torn edge, I wanted to have more of a sculpted uneven top. And so I put my thinking cap on. And this is what I came up with. This is what I'm going to show you. There's a few tricky steps to it, but don't worry, as always, I'm gonna walk you through it. All right, let's get going. So much better. Well, I haven't been throwing much lately, so you're just gonna have to put up with me while I tune myself up. Tune the clay up. 65, but she still got it. Blowing my own horn. Toot toot. Okay, so there we have the clay is nicely centered. And I'm sure as you've probably noticed on other videos, I always like to leave there's like a little dent there for my little finger. And it just makes a nice spot for me to start pulling up from. All right, so there we are down, got about just quarter of an inch, bit more on the bottom. Now I'm just gonna pull up. And as soon as I start to pull up, I'm already thinking about the form, obviously, that I'm going to be doing. And that decides how I pull the piece up, whether I go straight up or on a slight angle, etc. So now I'm going to see I'm pushing in there, getting that bit of clay on the bottom, and now I'm going to pull outwards and up at the same time. So I'm going out and up, and now I'm just starting to pull inwards a bit. I'm basically shaping as I go. So with this, what I'm going to show you is going to be distorting the form. So we want to do a certain amount of work before we get to that point, but we don't want the walls of the pot to get too thin for obvious reasons, which will soon be described and shown to you, because we don't want to distort things too much. So I'm going to go down to the bottom area, and I'm going to get that a little bit more how I'd like it. And notice how I slow my wheel down. I see a lot of you guys out there with your wheels going at the speed of light and clay everywhere. Remember, we used to work on kick wheels. And we threw very big pots on kick wheels. And they don't go that fast. So really, this kind of speed that has come about these days really wasn't possible with a kick wheel. I have a thing about throwing lines on the inside, only because of how I'm going to be finishing this piece. So I'm just going down with my rib and smoothing out some of the lines. I would say probably all roughly the thickness that I have up here. Now that I've got those lines off, I'm just going to do a little shaping of the outside before I come to the rim part. Now I'm going to slow down around here because I don't want to get too thin on the top. So I'm going to leave that. I'm just going to go back here, do a little bit more. I'm always just a little bit more. I'm like that person at the dinner table. Yeah, should I have more? I think just a little bit more. Okay, so now we're gonna get to the tricky part, the fun part, sculpting this rim. Now this is the part that's gonna freak you out. So we got a fettling knife, and I'm basically just gonna cut away here. And there's, you know, Not too much of a rhyme or reason. I go along and then I think, oh, I haven't gone down much, so I go down and I da, 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 da. Oh, let's go down a little bit more. Da, 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 da. There we go. And along and on, dum, dum, dum. Maybe I'll do a bigger, longer, wider one. I really want variation here. I don't want cookie cutter. There we go. Okay, you can see why I was talking about the fact that this is gonna distort it. And if you have the piece really thin when you do this, then you don't have as much room to work it and make it all tickety-boo after you've basically gone and operated. Okay, so a little water there. Now back to my rib, and I'm gonna start thinking about how I want this to look, and I'm gonna go back in, because that's who I am. Basically, I'm getting back in touch with the piece right now after operating. Oh my gosh, she's got the worst sense of humor going. Now, see how clunky that looks? So that was my first thing to figure out. I'm like, okay, I got it all nicely done and everything, but it looks clunky, and I don't like clunky. I'm known for fine work. This is not fine work. In come the beautiful mud tools. So this is what I started doing. So I put one on the inside and I put one on the outside, and I just very patiently and once again slowly start squeezing. And you can see what I'm doing. I'm just slowly making that thinner. And it can be a little bit discombobulating, especially when you sort of dip the bigger cuts, because you can feel it kind of want to buckle in your hands. But if you're patient and you just hold steady, it's got nowhere to go, right? Okay, so now see how it's starting to come together here like this. So at first when I did it, I left it like that, but then when you're glazing it, it became a bit problematic in some of my finishes, having that trench. So lately I've been going a little bit thinner, smoothing it out more, so there's less of that. Let's see where I'm at now. Getting pretty good. There's a lot less of it, okay? We're going in the direction I want. Look at that. Okay, so much better, right? So that feels to me like a good thickness. Just Goldilocks, right? Okay, so now I'm just gonna go with my sponge here and just a little bit of sealing up those ripped open bits so that I don't have problem when I'm layering with the terrasigillata and such. So now everything's looking pretty good, except for the fact that when I've been holding these tools, I've been distorting the form, which is why we left it just that little bit of extra thickness, so that when I go for the final shaping, I don't have completely exhausted clay. I have clay that's still got some life in it. I think I'm just gonna smooth out, pay attention to the outside. And of course, you know, when you're doing this, you also have the power to influence your form. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with the interior surface. Now, I'm just gonna get that a little bit wet so my hands don't grab. Okay, so now I'm gonna do the final forming. I have the inside the way I'd like it. I'm gonna try not to use the tips of my finger on the inside because I'm just making more rings. I try to remember to use more of the flat part of my hand. And of course, this, as you can see, this is more the tricky part. That's pretty good. I'm liking that. Okay, now, as I often suggest to my apprentices, when you're at this stage, really, really handy to get off the wheel. That's why I have this little stool here, and take a look at the form that you're working on and see if you're actually happy with it, because we're looking down on the work and it's a whole different vibe. Of course, I can see that there, but I have limited options as to what I can do now. So I'm just gonna try and do my best, and then I'm gonna couple it. And I think I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, so now the final stage. I try to do as much as I can on the wheel at this stage, and then, you know, the last bit of course is the trimming and tidying up, but anything that I can do to make sure the finished product needs less work in the next stages, I try to do now. So one thing that I do as far as keeping studio clay dust down is I take the flat side of one of these and I cleaned off my bat. Less dry clay. Okay, so then that's all nice, done. Now I'm gonna take my needle tool, and I know you all have seen me do this before. I'm gonna start out here. I'm already touching the bottom of the bat, and I'm just going through. So now I'm through to where I want. I stop, take my most expensive tool in the studio, my fishing line and cork. Make sure you got your fingers right tight down to the bat. Let the wheel turn slowly. Bring that through. Pull off the slip so it doesn't dry on your line. Now at this point, often it's simply easiest to leave this on the bat, just take it away and then take that off when you pick the piece up to trim it. But I want you to see as much of the piece as possible. So I'm going to take it away so that you can see more of the form. It's a pretty cool technique. It, you know, it's just another tool in your toolbox, you know, make more funky pieces. And it's much more defined than the torn edge bowl. That's why I call it my sculpted edge, for lack of a better word. There you go. All done, as they say. So now you know how to make a sculpted top. I'm gonna be looking forward to seeing your attempts. I love it when you folks send me messages on YouTube and show me the pictures of that you've been inspired by the video, and then you've gone and you've given it a try and you put your piece up there. It's great, I love it. I love it. It's shared knowledge, it shows you're trying these things, and that is awesome. And I think by now, if you follow me, you know there's a new book coming out and it's going to be uber exciting. The first book leads into the second book, so if you haven't read the first book yet, great time to pick it up, My Life as a Potter. And the second book is Developing Glazes, and I'm going to introduce some really fun shit in that book. Just you wait, okay? So for now, pot on, and the new book will be available this November worldwide. That will be 2025. Over and out.